LA Knight demands title match after confrontation with The New Day on WWE RAW. LA Knight just exposed the biggest conspiracy in WWE booking that has fans absolutely furious and demanding Triple H explain why the most over superstar on the roster is being systematically denied opportunities while less popular wrestlers get handed championship matches like participation trophies. What happened on Monday Night Raw wasn't just another confrontation between a rising star and established champions, it was LA Knight calling out the entire WWE system for playing politics with title opportunities and prioritizing backstage relationships over fan reactions. The confrontation with The New Day was explosive enough on its own, but what LA Knight said after the cameras stopped rolling has WWE officials scrambling to contain a narrative that threatens to expose how championship opportunities are really distributed in this company. And the specific accusations Knight made about favoritism, protected status, and veterans blocking younger talent from advancing are so accurate and so damaging that multiple wrestlers have privately messaged their support while publicly staying silent to protect their own positions. But here's what's really going to make your blood boil. According to sources close to the situation, LA Knight has been requesting championship opportunities for months, consistently drawing massive crowd reactions and merchandise sales that prove his popularity, yet he keeps getting passed over for wrestlers with fraction of his fan support simply because those wrestlers have better political connections backstage or longer tenure with the company. The New Day confrontation was LA Knight's breaking point, and his demand for a title match wasn't just about wanting championship gold, it was about forcing WWE to acknowledge that their booking decisions are increasingly disconnected from what fans actually want to see. And the way Triple H and other officials have responded to Knight's public challenge reveals everything about how threatened they feel by a wrestler who refuses to quietly accept being underutilized despite doing everything right. WWE is facing a crisis of credibility where the performer generating the loudest reactions and most organic fan support is being treated like an afterthought while the company pushes storylines and champions that fans are clearly less invested in. And if they can't find a way to satisfy both LA Knight and the furious fanbase that supports him, this situation is going to explode into the kind of controversy that forces major changes in how WWE operates. Let me tell you exactly what happened during that confrontation, what LA Knight said that his management's so uncomfortable, and why this situation represents a much bigger problem than just one wrestler being frustrated. The confrontation began during what was supposed to be a standard New Day celebration segment. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston were in the ring cutting a promo about their legacy and their reign as tag team champions, doing the usual charismatic routine that has made them fan favorites for years. But the energy in the arena changed dramatically when LA Knight's music hit and the place absolutely erupted. The crowd reaction for Knight was noticeably louder and more intense than what the New Day had been receiving, and you could see both Xavier and Kofi register the difference in real time. Their expressions shifted from confident champions to veterans who suddenly realized they were about to be overshadowed in their own segment. LA Knight came to the ring with a level of intensity that immediately signaled this wasn't going to be a friendly exchange or playful banter. He grabbed a microphone and got right to the point in a way that caught everyone off guard, including the New Day. "Let me ask you guys something," Knight began, his voice cutting through the crowd noise. "How many times do I need to prove I'm the most over guy in this company before I get the opportunities that guys like you just get handed automatically?" The directness of that question created immediate tension. This wasn't a scripted heel promo trying to get heat, this was someone asking a legitimate question that fans had been wondering about for months. The crowd responded with a massive cheer that confirmed they'd been thinking the exact same thing. Xavier tried to respond with humor, making a joke about Knight needing to earn his spot the way New Day had, but LA Knight wasn't having it. He cut Xavier off mid-sentence with a response that has since gone viral across social media. "Earn my spot? Brother, I pop this crowd bigger than anyone on this roster every single time I come through that curtain. My merchandise is flying off the shelves. When I talk, people actually listen instead of checking their phones. So don't stand there and tell me about earning anything when you know damn well the only reason I'm not holding championship gold is because of politics and who you know in the back." The crowd exploded. That level of shoot-style honesty about backstage politics is extremely rare in modern WWE, and fans were eating it up because it validated everything they'd been complaining about on social media for months. LA Knight was saying out loud what everyone had been thinking, that he was being held back despite doing everything right. Kofi Kingston tried to defend their position by pointing out New Day's long history and their contributions to WWE, but Knight had a devastating response ready. "History? Legacy? I respect everything you guys have accomplished, I really do. But this business isn't about what you did 5 years ago, it's about what you're doing right now. And right now, today, in 2025, I'm the guy people are paying to see. I'm the guy selling out the merchandise. I'm the guy getting the loudest reactions in every arena we go to. So when are you gonna step aside and let the guy people actually want to see get his opportunity?" That last line was particularly brutal because it forced the New Day to confront an uncomfortable truth. While they're respected veterans with an incredible legacy, LA Knight currently has more momentum and fan support than they do. The crowd's reaction confirmed that reality, with massive cheers for Knight and a more muted response when Xavier and Kofi tried to counter his arguments. The confrontation escalated when Knight made his formal demand, "I want a title match." Not next month, not at the next pay-per-view when you've had time to cool off my momentum. I want it as soon as possible, and I want WWE management to explain to these fans why that's not going to happen if they try to deny me. That public challenge put WWE in an impossible position. If they grant Knight the title match, they're essentially admitting that he's been unfairly overlooked and that fan pressure forced their hand. If they deny him, they're proving Knight's point about politics mattering more than popularity and fan support. The New Day's response was to accept the challenge, but with conditions that immediately made it clear they were trying to protect their position and make things as difficult as possible for Knight. Xavier suggested that Knight would need to prove himself by beating a series of opponents before earning a title shot, which Knight immediately called out as a stalling tactic designed to cool off his momentum. Prove myself, Knight shot back. I've been proving myself every single week while you guys have been coasting on reputation. But you know what? Fine. Give me whoever you want, whenever you want. I'll beat them all and then I'll beat you, and there won't be any excuses left about whether I deserve to be champion. The segment ended with Knight standing tall in the ring while the New Day retreated up the ramp, but the real story was what happened after the cameras stopped rolling. According to multiple backstage sources, LA Knight was immediately summoned to a meeting with Triple H and other WWE officials to discuss his comments during the segment. The meeting was described as tense, with management expressing concern that Knight had gone off script and made the company look bad by suggesting that booking decisions are based on politics rather than merit. Knight's response to that criticism has become legendary among wrestlers who heard about it. He allegedly told management, "If you don't want me saying booking is political, then stop making it political. Give title shots to the people who actually deserve them based on crowd reactions and drawing power, not based on who's been here the longest or who plays backstage games the best." That statement cut right to the heart of WWE's booking philosophy and exposed the tension between what fans want and what management wants to push. Triple H and other decision-makers pride themselves on having long-term plans and protecting certain wrestlers they view as cornerstones of the roster. But LA Knight was essentially arguing that those plans don't matter if fans aren't responding to them, and that stubbornly pushing wrestlers who aren't as over as alternatives is bad business. The most controversial part of Knight's backstage argument was when he directly compared his fan reactions and merchandise sales to other wrestlers who've received championship opportunities. He reportedly pulled up social media metrics, merchandise numbers, and crowd reaction data to prove that he's objectively more popular than several recent champions and challengers, yet he's been passed over repeatedly. Management's counter-argument was that Knight is still relatively new to the main roster level and needs more time to develop and prove he can sustain his popularity long-term. Knight's response was to point out that he's been consistently over for over a year, that his catchphrases have become part of mainstream culture, and that waiting for him to prove something he's already proven is just making excuses for not giving him opportunities. The meeting ended without clear resolution, but Knight made it clear he wasn't going to quietly accept being underutilized anymore. He told management that if they weren't going to give him championship opportunities based on merit, he would continue using his microphone time to point out the disconnect between what fans want and what WWE is giving them. The fallout from this confrontation and the subsequent backstage meeting has created fascinating dynamics throughout WWE. First, there's the locker room response. Multiple wrestlers have privately expressed support for LA Knight's stance because they relate to the frustration of being over with fans but not getting pushed accordingly. However, most are afraid to publicly support him because they don't want to be seen as causing problems or questioning management's decisions. The veterans in the locker room are split. Some respect Knight for standing up for himself and speaking truth about how opportunity distribution works in WWE. Others think he's being disrespectful to wrestlers like the New Day who have earned their positions through years of work, and that he needs to be more patient and wait his turn. This generational divide reveals competing philosophies about how wrestling careers should progress. Older wrestlers believe in paying dues, waiting your turn, and earning opportunities through longevity and backstage respect. Younger wrestlers think that if fans are responding to you right now, you should be pushed right now, regardless of how long you've been with the company. Second, there's the fan reaction. Social media exploded with support for LA Knight and criticism of WWE's booking decisions. Fans created trending hashtags demanding Knight get a title shot, and many threatened to stop watching if WWE continues to ignore the obvious audience preference for Knight over other wrestlers being pushed. This fan pressure puts WWE in an awkward position because giving into it might encourage future fan campaigns to influence booking decisions, but ignoring it risks alienating the fan base and confirming that WWE doesn't actually care what audiences want as long as they're pushing the wrestlers management prefers. Third, there's the New Day's position in all this. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston are beloved veterans who've earned their status through years of entertaining fans and being consummate professionals, but they're now in the uncomfortable position of being portrayed as obstacles to a more popular wrestler getting his opportunity. This isn't really fair to the New Day because they don't control booking decisions, they're just doing their jobs as champions. But perception matters in wrestling, and the perception is increasingly becoming that New Day is being protected by management despite not being as popular as they used to be, and that this protection is preventing fresher acts like LA Knight from breaking through. The situation is creating resentment that could damage relationships and create long-term problems for everyone involved. The New Day might start to feel like they're being positioned as scapegoats for booking decisions they don't control, while LA Knight is being set up as an entitled complainer who won't wait his turn, even though he's actually just advocating for booking that reflects fan interest. Now here's the question that's going to determine how you view this entire situation. Do you think LA Knight is completely justified in demanding a title match based on his crowd reactions and popularity, or do you think he needs to respect the veterans ahead of him and wait until management decides he's ready? Your answer probably reveals your broader philosophy about how wrestling should work. If you think popularity and fan reaction should be the primary factors in who gets pushed, you support Knight. If you think longevity, backstage respect, and management's long-term vision should determine opportunities, you probably think Knight is being impatient. Here's the harder question: should WWE prioritize giving fans what they clearly want right now, even if it disrupts their long-term plans, or should they stick to their vision and trust that fans will eventually come around to their preferred storylines and champions? Because here's the uncomfortable reality: WWE has a history of being stubborn about pushing the wrestlers they want to push regardless of fan reactions. Sometimes that stubbornness eventually pays off and fans come around. Other times, it results in years of diminished interest and lost opportunities because the company refused to capitalize on organic fan support when it existed. LA Knight represents organic fan support that WWE didn't create and might not fully understand. He got over through his own charisma, his catchphrases, and his ability to connect with audiences in a way that feels authentic. Management didn't manufacture his popularity, he earned it himself, and now management seems uncertain about whether to capitalize on that popularity or try to control and manage it according to their preferred timeline. The danger in waiting too long is that fan interest is fickle and momentum can be killed if it's not capitalized on quickly. LA Knight is incredibly hot right now, but if WWE makes him wait too long while putting him in holding pattern feuds that don't matter, that heat could cool off and the opportunity could be lost forever. Tell me in the comments, how long should WWE wait before giving LA Knight a legitimate championship opportunity? Should they strike while he's hot right now, or should they make him wait and earn it through a longer build? And here's the question that really matters: if WWE continues to pass over LA Knight despite his obvious popularity, will you lose faith in the company's ability to recognize and push talent that fans actually want to see? Or do you trust that management has a plan that will eventually pay off even if it's frustrating in the short term? Because this situation with LA Knight and the New Day isn't just about one wrestler wanting a title match. It's about whether WWE is willing to listen to their audience and adjust their plans based on what's actually working, or whether they're going to stubbornly push ahead with their preferred vision regardless of what fans are telling them through their reactions. LA Knight has done everything right, he's gotten over organically, he connects with crowds, his merchandise sells, and fans are literally demanding that he get pushed. If WWE can't or won't capitalize on that because of politics, hierarchy, or a refusal to deviate from long-term plans, then what message does that send to every other wrestler trying to break through? The message would be, it doesn't matter how over you get or how much fans love you, if management hasn't decided it's your time, you're not getting opportunities no matter what you do. That's a depressing and demotivating message that could discourage wrestlers from trying to connect with audiences organically, since it apparently doesn't matter anyway. Alternatively, if WWE does give LA Knight his opportunity and he succeeds, it sends the message that hard work, natural charisma, and connecting with fans still matters in this business. It tells wrestlers that if you can get yourself over, the company will recognize and reward that accomplishment with meaningful opportunities. Which version of WWE do you want to support? The one that rewards organic popularity and listens to fan feedback, or the one that sticks to predetermined plans regardless of what the audience is telling them? LA Knight demanded his title match, and in doing so, he demanded that WWE choose what kind of company they want to be. The answer to that question is going to determine not just Knight's career trajectory, but the entire culture of opportunity and meritocracy in WWE going forward.